Hello, good afternoon, good morning, good evening to all of you lovely people out there. I am going to do this video on how I became aware of my spiritual abilities. And yes, I had a near death experience, but even before that, when I was a young child, I was at school and I could hear what people were saying, and they may have been about 5 feet to 10 feet away, but I could hear what they were saying about me and exactly what was going on. And that was a problem for me, because I always had that feeling that because I could hear what other people were saying and even thinking, that is also a problem. So I learned to be strong and not listen to that voice. It seemed to be um, the voices that I heard, and they're not voices, but of people's what they were thinking in their mind, and also what um, all the gossip and that was going on at that time. So if I would go and confront the people as a kid, and say, well, you thought such and such, or you felt such and such, and they would look at me with like amazement and go, I didn't say anything, it was in my head. Yes, I said, but I could hear what you were thinking. And it would blow their minds a little bit. And another thing too, I had a ring given to me by my grandfather, and it was a special aquamarine ring. And one day, playing outside, probably I was about 11 or 12, and I lost the ring. And so I just said to Spirit, or which yeah I did, and said, I need to find it. And all of a sudden, it was like I had like a magnifying glass, and I could see where the ring was in the grass, and I just picked it up. And someone said, "How did you find that?" And I said, "I don't know. All of a sudden, I had like a magnifying glass, and it just showed me where it was." That was also yeah, connection with spirit, I guess, is allowing yourself to be open and allow spirit to work with you. So that was another experience I had that made me aware of that was more than just what there was in the third dimension. So yeah, through the years, I've had many quite astounding things too. And I remember going overseas when I was 12 with my parents, and we went by ship, and we went right to Amsterdam and well, Rotterdam actually, where we got off, and because our family's in Holland. And on the way, we visited many ports. And I remember at that age asking why there were so many churches and different religions when there's only one God. So I guess that was the start of my questioning it as well. And I used to say, okay, because I went to Sunday school as well, my question was always, well, if Adam and Eve were the only people on earth, then they had two sons. Where did the rest of humanity come from? Where did where did the wives of Cain and Abel come from, that so they could create children that would go forth, and they mustn't have been the only people on earth at that time. So I questioned a lot about what was in the Bible as to um, what was real and what wasn't, and I began to realise that the Bible was just a historic novel. Yes, and that they did write about the seer, the Jesus as well. So, and I've also looked in different religious books, the Quran, and also the Jewish Torah, and I've come to realise that they all believe in the same God. And I take it a step further and say they believe in the Creator and the source of where we all came from. So that put a perspective in my mind. I thought about that for many years. I guess that was the beginning of questioning religion, and then questioning and who are we, where do we come from, and how do we communicate with the source, with the Creator. So it's a matter of thinking for yourself. So right, that brings me to another another incident. I can say that I was living in a house in Glenfield, and when I used to have classes, a meditation class, and a spiritual development class there, and so I was very aware of the energies that are on the land, and knowing that it's on Maori land. And it seems to me also that during those years that I seem to have moved from one place to another, and have realised that they are on like minor points of vortex, of points of the ley lines of the earth. So having said that, in this house and with it, at night time I would have Maori warriors walk through my room and ask me what I was doing there, and I'd say to them, do I have your permission to be here, or can I, stay on this land? And this happened just about every night. This Maori warrior had a spear in his hand, and he had his traditional, like his pew pew, and he was followed with 3 or 4 others that were standing behind him, but he seemed to be the spokesperson. And I'd have to ask every night, and I thought, oh, blow this. So I said to them, may I have permission to do my spiritual work on your land until the time comes when I can move? And they said, well, okay, if you're doing the work for spirit, and also to balance the energies and make them positive. And I said, yes, that is right. And I thought to myself, good. And so he ended up, and I said, well, you can join us in our spiritual groups if you like. And so then I always had, from then on, I had a presence in the spiritual groups and meditation classes, and that he was almost like became a protector, but I guess he was protecting his land as well. So we actually became melded, and I have to tell you the story. I was actually married to a Maori, and was blessed with also knowing his aunties, and who was really an old Maori kuya, and she even had the old muku on her chin. Not like these days, but the very old, from the old ways, and that she was a descendant of a Maori princess from way back. And I sort of felt her soul around me after she had passed, and I see her as a welcoming, warm hug and love all the time, because she says you are, vitalising the light, the love of the people of the land, the tangata whenua, and that she really enjoys that I do this work, and interested as well. And so when I do readings for people of Maori descent, she seems to come to me and be like a gateway. It's sort of she does the introduction before their people come in, so I really feel protected and loved by her. And also, I have to tell you about an incident. I'm driving my car and I'm driving around in the Mamakus, which is just before Rotorua, and I'm driving along, and then all of a sudden, this I had a small car, and a little sports car, which had a very small back seat in it. All of a sudden, there was this really huge Maori guy that filled up the back seat, and he had his arms out like this, and he was saying, "Can you help me?" And I said, "What's wrong?" And he said, "Well, I just feel stuck here. I need to go to Spirit, and but I'm having a problem." And I says, "Well, what is your problem?" He says, "Because I look at my size, I can't get through that narrow white light." I said to him, "You are no longer in the physical. Your spirit will fit through that light. You are not then solid anymore. Your essence of your being will go to the light, and just allow that light to come to you and flow through it." And so then he said, "Okay." And so with that, he seemed to, his voice and his body disappeared, and then I heard "thank you," and then he also said some Maori words of thanks, So I thought, oh, that's great. I've helped someone move into spirit that was, through his thinking, thought he was stuck and he wasn't. So that was yeah, I take that in my stride because I just welcome that in. And I think if you're open to spirit and open to people that have passed on, then you can help them. I've had many, and also when I was doing spiritual work and I was living in the same place with the Maori warriors, I had a lot of people come to me, well, spirit come to me that seemed to be needed to go to the light, and I would say to them, "There's nothing holding you back. You see the light, and if you um, feel stuck, just ask for one of your relatives or ancestors or best friends to come, that have passed over, come through to you and take you on." And in that way, cleared a lot of those around me, and it seemed the energy just seemed to get lighter and lighter. There was another time that I was living at the edge of Auckland, and it was a house that was 180 view of the whole of Auckland, and so it was beautiful there with the night stars and things like that. And I'd have meditation there and spiritual groups. And one night, it was my friend and I were doing a very deep meditation on Atlantis. And what happened was we sort of all of a sudden, both of us came out of it in the middle of the meditation, and all of a sudden, and we looked outside and we were both amazed. I said, "Do you see what I see?" And she said, "Yes, I see that." I said, "Those stars aren't in the right place." And she said, "Yes, that's right." And there was like an orange hue over the whole planet and wherever we went, and we were but freaked out. In those days, we got in the car, went down to the petrol station to get some cigarettes because we needed something to calm us down. And we noticed that the people were not, they were people like human, but they were devoid of any emotions. And so even in the tone of their voices, there was no emotions. And we all could see this purple, like it's a mist, but it wasn't a mist. Like you could see through it, but it was there. It was there, and everything else was orange. Like So it must have been an alternate, what we figured out, because came back and we went and sat down and had a cigarette, and we figured out that we must have gone to an alternate reality, which is, us in the same time around in another dimension, doing the same things but on a different planet. So we spoke about this in length. And then so we decided, right, well, to get us back to our planet on Earth, where we came from, we put the meditation on and continued right to the end. And then so at the end of the meditation, we came out of it and we looked straight away at the stars. We're back where we were. So we discussed it quite a lot, and we gathered that was an alternate reality, because we're the centre of our own universe, and we exist in the past and the future, but also exist in alternate realities. So we may be having a moment where our life and that life is in sync with doing the same thing. So that means that our energy would have gone to the alternate reality, and which is very unusual for two people to do it at the same time, and stuck in, well, I wouldn't say a wormhole so much as our energies were very in sync with at the same time. Us in an alternate reality was actually meditating at the same time. So, and it made us think about how we're connected. Like our oversoul, our soul that is in the oneness, that come and then is dissipated out into many dimensions and many planets and many lives. And so that soul has many experiences. So we're figuring out that there was um, a sort of how you have energy waves and they sort of distort for a moment. And I think that's sort of the blip. So we figured that that's what it might be. So we put it down to an experience in the same place, and I think that that I was living with this beautiful view. Um, came New Year's Eve, and we had probably about 12 people at the New Year's Eve. We had a spiritual gathering. So we're all standing on the deck there, and looking at these different stars, and I said, I wonder if there's any um, um, uh, extraterrestrials, or shall I say other peoples from other planet, or other beings from other planet around. So we looked up there, and all of us looked at the stars and said, okay, so if you guys are up there, can you give us show us that you're there? And then two of the lights out there moved, and everyone said, did you see that? Did you see that? Yes, and everyone said, those lights, they moved. And so it was another confirmation that we can connect to other beings on other planets, and those that are in the stars. So that proved to all of us that they do exist, and they are out there and they are helping us. So I've actually done quite a few channelings on that, which is available on my book called Atlantis Starseeds. But that was another thing that made me and others with me seeing the same thing, that proved to me that it does exist. Another time we were driving, three of us, it was my daughter and my spiritual friend and myself were driving. We went over to South Auckland to pick up some crystals, and we had about, I don't know, something like 50 crystals sitting in the boot of the car, ready to take back to the shop. We're driving along there, and all of a sudden we see this pyramid. And I'm seeing this first, I'm like, do you see that pyramid? And we're driving along the straight road, and in the distance we could see this pyramid. I said, am I the only one that's seeing that? No. And I said, okay, describe it to me. Well, it's a pyramid, and it's like the ones in Egypt. I said, yes, I'm seeing that too. So, and my daughter saw that as well. We were going, wow, shall we go and drive to it? Yeah, well, the three of us sort of said, well, um, it can't be real. And of course we continued, and so we stopped and watched it, and all of a sudden it seemed to go poof, and it was gone. So my thoughts on that, well, the three of us believed it, saw it, and then the three of us decided, well, it's not real, so it went away. It's like, how we manifest, how we believe things that are there. But if you believe they're not there, they go away. It's like, anyway, that confused us. Let me tell you that. But that was quite exciting to see something like that.